This might not sound politically correct for a journalist, but I've never had a love affair with news. I love God and my family. Wow. But I'm passionate about my craft and driven to excel. That's all the combination I need. I don't think I've ever seen on anybody's website or any bio that anyone has put together where they would just straight out say, you know, I love God and my family. That's what's special about this man. When I got to know him 3 years ago, I saw how special he was. And again, I watched the way he would approach stories. His job is to get after the truth. That's his main job. But he shows so much grace in doing it that those around him can see. He is absolutely an influence, not just on those in the newsroom, but those he interviews, and then those who watch his newscasts. So we've been watching him for years. So my question to you is, how do you do that thing that you do?
It's by God's grace. And you said it well, we're truth seekers when you work in the job that we do. But as Christians, balancing the seeking of truth and extending God's hand of kindness, gentleness, and mercy, because He extends it to us every day. And when I do a story, and I go out on a story, I have to go with God's covering because I've done all types of stories from tragedies to triumphant stories. I've interviewed all kinds of people, but we're all people. And so I just try to communicate as best I can and just stay humble and stay pliable, and ask the Lord to cover whatever I'm doing and to give me the wisdom to ask the right questions and to do it in a way that's not, I'm not softballing anything. Right? We ask the hard questions, but you do it in a way that's with humility, I guess.
That's what I've noticed about you. Now, I mentioned earlier that we're a newsroom, we're an industry that doesn't really attract a lot of Christians. Okay, so in our newsroom, they come from all walks of life, right? Just like a cross-section of the world. How are you able to deal with that? Because you know people don't share, and I know that people don't share our opinion about a lot of the issues of the day. How do you deal with that?
I think I was blessed when I got saved. One of the first places I worked at was a Christian radio station, and they're still going great guns. They're called Fish. But I started working there. I was a young Christian. I'd come out of secular radio, and I got to work with people who modeled their walk with Christ. You may know their names like Del Gibbs and Tim Mathry, and Jack Waters, and those people. And through the years, I got a chance to watch them and see how they interacted. And given it is a Christian workplace, but you still deal with stresses and you still deal with personalities. But I think I learned from that early on how to work.
We've had several times where you've walked in and closed the door and we prayed over things. We prayed over either current events or things that were just, toward us, things that had just happened. And you prayed for me. You noticed something a little bit under stress, which is all the time. And, what should the role of faith be in a workplace? Because you're number one, we're Christian, and we're Christ followers. Secondly, we have this job to do. We have this role. What do we do?
Live it. Yeah. Live it. I pray a simple prayer before I come to work every day. That, Lord, help me in everything I think, say, and do today. May I glorify you. I've got this picture. We have this picture in our home, and it's a rendering of Jesus, a drawing, and he's Jesus the carpenter, and he's shaping a piece of wood. And every day I look at that, and I think, well, Lord, how are you going to shape me today? How are you going to shape this day for me? And I use that as my God.
What about your faith being so overwhelming in a story that you really just how do you remain objective in a story where you really have from a Christian perspective, you have a very strong position in your life?
My job is to not color a story with my belief and how I feel. And there are stories, and we know what they are. They've been in our community over the last few years. You treat it fairly, and the people who you speak with treat their opinion fairly, and try to, as best as you can, do the fair and balanced approach to journalism. I think that's how we do it.
Well, you really do live out your faith in the workplace, and I admire you. You're a hero of mine, a mentor of mine, and you've helped me through some tough times, and hopefully we help each other. But thank you very much for being here.